What's up, Culture Drop? I am Galen. Today's topic I'm excited about. We are talking about the do's and don'ts of culture. All right, here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna give you 5 do's to have exceptional culture, 5 don'ts for having exceptional culture. Let's not waste any time, let's rock. Number 1, get clear. What is your culture? This is the heart of the work that I do with executive teams and leadership teams, organizations, to be like, what are the ground rules? What is the code of conduct of your culture? Not trust, respect, integrity, teamwork, excellence. What do those things look like in practice? Be very clear in behaviors. Focus on behaviors. That is your culture. How are people expected to behave, and what are specifically the behaviors? We don't badmouth other people. We actively seek out feedback, etc. Number 2, become obsessed with employee experience. You have to prioritize front to back employee experience. Hiring, onboarding, training, development, pay them well, treat them well, have great leaders and managers inside the organization. The same way that you prioritize customer and client experience, because your customers and clients can purchase elsewhere. Your great employees can work at other jobs. You have to prioritize your employees, like absolutely. Number 3, build a culture of feedback. You have to ask for feedback from everybody. Employees should be giving feedback to their leaders. You should be going to your employees and asking them, how are we doing? As a leader, ask your employees, how can I show up even better? What is our biggest area of opportunity to improve? You have to prioritize and focus on feedback. Feedback leads to healthy communication and healthy relationships. So you have to be good at it, and you have to do it and be consistent. Not once a year, on a regular, consistent basis. Like, ask for feedback. Number 4, karate chops. Sa! Just kidding, but you should have good karate chops. Actual number 4, great leaders only. Do not put people into leadership positions that are not great leaders, have high emotional intelligence, can communicate well, navigate conflict. Like, do not compromise on having exceptional leaders. Number 5, last but not least, because it's critical, have healthy, courageous communication. Your people need to be able to have really honest, courageous conversations that are healthy about feedback, about conflict. You need to develop the skills and train people so that they can say what needs to be said to each other. This is like the death of organizations, is where people are afraid to, and there's no opportunity to like say what needs to be said. And I hear that story a million times over, where people don't take things personally, but things that need to be said can be spoken about and addressed and talked about, even if they're challenging. Like, critical, just like in personal relationships, in every relationship, healthy communication, key. All right, here we go. Part 2, here are the 5 don'ts of having great culture. Number 1, this is first for a reason. No talking shit. No bad mouthing, no gossip. You need to establish with intention a culture where people do not badmouth each other. You use your words to lift each other up. If you have a problem with somebody, you go right to the source. This is like the Achilles heel of organizations, is like toxic talk and behavior where people badmouth each other. Number 2, do not spend all your time focused on low frequency behavior. We need to have eyes up and focused up here, which means policies around like dress code and logging in on time and all this kind of stuff. Do not spend all of your time focused on policing the behavior of your poorest performing and behaving employees, right? Establish a culture with intention. I'm not gonna have this conversation with you 2 or 3 times about this like low level stuff. We're up here, hold people accountable and to be like a high bar, this is what's expected of you, and focus on that. Number 3, do not rely on the skill sets and capacity of your people as they are today, which means train, invest in your people, train them in how to navigate conflict, train them in how to give and receive feedback, train them in like healthier communications, like train them in their jobs to up-level their skills. Like, do not rely on how they are right now. So important to continue learning, continue growing, and like build capacity and skills in your people. Number 4, do not be precious about the way you've always done things. Who cares? Be willing to adapt, change, right? Grow, learn all the time. Be willing to challenge and ask always, constantly. If we started this organization today, is that the way that we would do this thing? If the answer to that question is no, stop doing it that way. Never say these words out of your mouth, this is the way we've always done that, and use that as an excuse to not change, to not grow, to not improve. You will lose great people and you will end up dying as an organization. Number 5, last also but not least, very important, this requires a zero tolerance policy. No assholes. You cannot have people working inside your organization that other people like dread coming to work with because they're toxic, they stir up drama, they've been there too long, they're jaded. Like, you cannot have those people inside your organization. And unless you can promise to every new hire coming in your organization, I promise you, you will not have to work with anybody here that's an asshole. If you can't make that promise to people, you've got work to do. And like, you have to do the work to get rid of bad apples or coach people into greatness. Like, absolutely a must for great culture. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have our weekly email list, the Culture Drop. You can subscribe to that and get these emails right in your inbox. Follow our social media channels. Put out a lot of free content around being more awesome and building great teams.